All right, guys, real quick down and dirty here. Busy weekend for me. It seems to be the case. I need to I need to do better and get these out Friday before my weekend takes over. So we'll work on that. It's Monday. We'll get this out for you guys, which is kind of good anyways. The weekend didn't do what I expected. I was pretty much wrong if you go back and look at last week's video on some of the predictions I had. So let's talk about those specifically. First off, Moonshine. I saw Moonshine hit 300 Friday night. Maybe it was Saturday night. I can't remember. Moonshine hit 300 for a brief period. People were selling big stacks at 300. It was wild. So it looks like it's still going up. You look at the trend, just like I said, it's kind of leveling off. It pulled back over the weekend a little bit. It might come back up. Just watch it. We'll see what it does. There's a lot of money in the economy, so there's a good chance things still keep going up. Sugar is a good indicator of that. Sugar is kind of like this weird bellwether for the economy because it's so centered to so many things in the way the Tarkov economy works that it just kind of shows you where everything's at. So what I mean by that is we are just over a month into the wipe and we're 31,000. If you look at last wipe, it was only about 26. That might not sound like a lot, but it is. It is substantial and impactful with how big of an impact sugar has on the overall economy, and it kind of indicates how much money's in the economy. So we might actually see, because sugar did what, like 50K, maybe 60K last wipe? We might actually see 70, 80K sugar again. I don't know, but it's a possibility. So when it comes to crafting, try to get your sugar right now for under 30K, and if you're selling your moonshine for 265, you're golden. You'll be making a little bit of money, and you get that stuff, that part of your hideout cranking. Intelligence Center, again, not much to talk about. Until you get Return the Favor done and can craft VPXs, you can't even really make money. I've tried to make money on this, and I just lose my ass every time I do it because I can never seem to sell it for 285. Some event might come along and make these more valuable, but who can predict that? Thumb drives, flash drives, you just can't make money with. Break even. I do craft these just so I have something going, but I can't alternate anything until I get VPXs, and then I'll start doing those. And then maybe Intels once I get level 3, assuming I do, which I should. Laboratory, Bleach. Bleach is still top of the thing. Now, we didn't see a 17K spike like we did last time. It only got to about 15 or 16K. So I'm going to bump the price down to about 15 plus, because this also means you can sell this during the week. So you don't have to. I sat all week with a bunch of Bleach, and it reminded me why I hate crafting Bleach. It takes up so much space. But get your soap for 10, alkali for 16, sodiums for 22, and then sell your Bleach for 15. You're doing 43K an hour. At least I am. It might be a little less depending on your skills. I'm at 25 and 24 right now. We're getting into where fabrics make sense again. So if you like these crafts, the Scav Vest, great little craft. Just get your slickers, craft or turn them into ripstop, sell your ripstop. Shoot for 20K. You can get a lot more. You can get a lot less. It's pretty volatile, but watch for that 20K mark. The weekend might make it pull back a little bit. I'm sorry, from the weekend it might pull back a little bit. But even if you go down to, let's put 18K in here, just to be safe, if you will, you're still making about 20K an hour. Still pretty good. Soap's there if you want it. Again, I don't like this craft. Takes too many components, takes up too much space. This stuff's food. Can't go in junk boxes, but you do you. FP100 filters, 125K is getting tougher and tougher to get. I don't know why. I thought the prices were going to rebound a lot after. This is from that task, that task they added, the gunsmith task that gave you 2 filters, I think, or 3. We saw it come back a little bit. I was having a hard time getting 25K, 125K sometimes, but I think it's still a good point. It's just the best thing to do with your water filters. Try to get your air filters down in that cheap area. You can get them down sub 20s. It helps out quite a little bit with how much you can make, or just craft them like I do. I cycle craft. That's part of my cycle craft. The sling bag, another good one to look at. Cheap, easy, one component. Buy them from Ragman, throw them out there. Again, we saw a spike on the weekend. 20K is not unheard of, so we'll bump this one up to 20K simply because this craft's a little bit harder than the ripstop. It doesn't make you as much money, but again, it's an easier craft. It's easier to store. Things like that out there. And then shampoo. Shampoo. You can do it if you want. I don't mind it. It's a quick, easy craft. I'll buy up the soap, then I'll just buy the beers as I need them. Sell 8 or 10 shampoos for like 22 to 24K. I think they hit 26 over the weekend, but again, that's just a crazy spike. And then your long craft is a grenade case. Use your burned up fuel cans, nuts at 10K, bolts at 13, and metal parts at 15, or some variation thereof. And then just vendor your grenade case. I sell mine on the flea because I want the flea rep. You do what is important to you. Med Station, Mule Craft. If you get Crisis done, this craft makes buku bucks, but not everybody can have it. And you got to sell at the highest 170. If you don't have to sell at 175, I think it mids around 140, and you still make okay money. But you can get 175 for sure if you list these in a stack each night. They do it every night. They just get really expensive, and you can make that money. AFAX using recycled IFAX. Keep that in mind. I'll see if I can show it to you real quick. I've been getting lucky and getting these off a fence, and I don't even have 6 fence left. I'll see AFAX on here. Like, I'm gonna buy that right there. I didn't get it. I'll see AFAX on here that I can turn into, and I'll buy them because they're like 2,000 rubles or less. And then I can turn an IFAC into an AFAC, and that's just kind of what I do. If you see them on there, Propital, just get the prices. I mean, you see the market prices are a little bit higher, but even if you're buying at average prices and selling Propitals at 19K, it still does okay. It's there. Just keep in mind. I like this craft because it's easy. The CMS craft, 32K is on the higher end. You are going to sit on a couple of these, and if you're going to try to sell for 32K, but you just got to buy med tools, and then you buy the car med kit from Therapist each time you do the craft. Cycle it, roll it in and out, and off you go. Easy to sell. SJ6s have spiked. I saw these at 65K or 70K over the weekend. So if you want to try to play around that, you can. It does make these quite a bit better if you can get 65K out of them. But it is just a little bit longer of a craft, and then you got to sit on stims. But it's there. Wanted to point it out. Using ALU splints with Grizzlies, you have been able to get 42K now. We're finally over that 40,000 mark. It helps a little bit with the craft. This is just a good thing to use your ALU splints if you have them. Don't like. If you get these off a fence, great, but don't try to use full price ones because it just eats all the profit out of here. Pile of meds, again, the standard craft, pretty easy. Get your bandages and AI2s as cheap as you can. Doesn't have a huge impact. I have meds listed as 12.5 because I just wanted to make an example here of this. But I have been getting 15, 16, 17, sometimes even 18K out of these. So if you bump this to even 15,000, you'll see what it does here. It has a pretty substantial effect on how it more than doubles how much you make per hour with these. So they're a decent craft, especially if you find augmentons on the flea for like 15K, like they are now. Snatch up a bunch of these, throw them in a med case, and just craft to your heart's content. If you want to get really tricky about it, you can get bandages off a fence cheaper. This is what I usually do. I come in because they're 18. What are they? 18.93. You can get 5 of them. Sometimes you can get the AI2s a little bit cheaper here than you can on the flea. You just kind of got to watch for it. And then it gives you that craft for the pile of meds. Defibs are your long craft. Wires and caps at 10K each. You just got to watch for them. Just buy them when they're there. If you buy 10 of them, whatever, it doesn't matter because you're going to use them up. Magnets get at 15K. These are very all over the place. You can sell them for as much as 30K sometimes, and you can get them as cheap as 10K sometimes. So I put 15K in here. It's easy to get them there. Power banks are staying super cheap. I think they're just all over the place in raid because I do find a ton of them myself. They used to be kind of rare, but they're all over the place on streets. So you do that, craft your defibs, sit on them, and then try to sell them for like 170, sometimes even 180. Sell them in a bigger stack. If you just happen to click on the market and you see that somebody bought a bunch of these up for the thick barter case and you see it's getting close, throw your 4 or 5 on there and they will sell because people like that easier click and buy all and get 5 instead of going through them one at a time and competing. So it helps. IFAX, you can't really make money. They're there if you want to cycle crafts. They do go all over the place in price. It kind of depends on resets and stuff. And yes, you can get them upwards of like 21K. But I've had them sit for like 6-7 hours listing them like that, and I hate when that happens. So I've pretty much stopped crafting those. Nutrition unit, coffee is my go-to. It's a little tough. You got to get Dr. Lupo's beans under 33K. 32K is better, but they're pretty. People are buying them up. And blue gunpowder is starting to get more expensive. You can still get it cheap. You can still get it 10, 11K. I put 12K in there. And then the goal is to sell at 28K. This is one of the things I sell at night when I get off. I just list for 28K and go to bed with a stack of like 15 or 20. And they sell every night, which is good. And it makes a little bit of money. And it cycles the craft. It's quick. It's good for leveling up. Once I hit max skills, I stop doing this kind of stuff in the nutrition unit. And then I'm cycling with vodka right now. Even though whiskey's a little bit better of a craft, it just needs so many more components. It's just that many more clicks. So I usually stick with vodka. The key here is selling in huge stacks of like 35K. Like if you can get to 40 or 50, you're doing good. So like right now I have almost one full thing here of vodka. It'll start to spill over into another case. you know, and I'll fill these cases with vodka, and then I'll sell them, you know, 40, 50, 60, sometimes 80 in a stack. And those get bought up by the people doing the barters. That's how you do it. And you can list it for 35, 37, sometimes 40K. 40K is pushing it, but you just got to go look on the flea market, for example, and kind of see where the big stacks are at. So I'll come through here and look and see we're 35K right now. We're in the middle of the day. And there's no big stacks in here until you get down to this 35K. And then there's a 30 pack here. I would probably list somewhere in 34, 750 right now, just to get it out of the way if I had them. In fact, we might just do that right now before I forget. I know this isn't what the video's about, but I'll forget to do this, and then I'll be stuck with damn vodka for the rest of the day. And those should sell pretty quick and make pretty good money. You know, even if I come in here and we go 34, 750, oopsies, 34, 750, we're gonna make 10K an hour. And my bottle average is not this because I've always got one or two I've drinking. So the average price is probably closer to like maybe 9K, if not 10K. We'll put 10K in here. Oh my gosh. Which just bumps that profit up a little bit more. But it's a ton of this 375,000 is how much is going through the flea market, which is how, like right now, I'm almost 57 on the flea market. I should be 60 by the end of the week. Pretty easy. We'll see how much we can actually survive and make with money. After that, emergency water rations. These are great for using with used up water bottles. So if you're using up a water bottle and you only have one or two of these sitting around, because Keck Tape's even getting cheaper. I have 20K in here, but you can easily get this for like 18,000. And emergency water rations, they do get cheap sometimes. I hadn't actually looked at this yet. I missed this part. But yeah, so 20K, but even like 19, we'll put 19K in here because it looks like they're a little bit cheaper right now. You're still making 19K an hour. It's a relatively quick craft. It uses up items. It's just good for leveling up your hideout skills. Most of this other stuff I don't really want to talk about other than slickers. I want to bring this one up specifically. Cereal can be tough. It's worth taking out a raid if you want to do this craft. It's off. This average is off right here because of a big price jump one night and the bot caught it. But if you're getting for 16,000 and you can get crackers super cheap, well, maybe not anymore. It was a pile of meds barter. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's probably not the cheapest way to go about it. If you have pile of meds for 10,000, you buy a bunch of them. Sure, this is the cheapest way to get your cracker, but otherwise you're paying, what is it? What does she want for a cracker? 14,665. And they might be you'll be able to get them cheaper sometimes on the flea. We'll put 14 in there just to be consistent on the craft. And this one is, the reason this is important is because you are crafting slickers for, I need my handy calculator, which I don't know where the hell I put it. Here it is. So your input's 51,000, 781. So we'll say 52,000, right? 52,000 divided by 7 means you're crafting these for 7,400 a piece, which is cheaper than you can buy them. So you can't sell them, but you can turn them into scav vests and then turn that into Cordura, and then just you elevate your profits that much more. It's okay to stack crafts across modules. You just don't want to stack crafts in the same module. Like you don't want to craft red gunpowder and then use red gunpowder to craft green gunpowder, not green gunpowder, something else, and then sell that. You don't want to do that. But looking at slickers, you can see that you can still even get 9,500 sometimes for these. So even if you're stacking up on a bunch of slickers because you're not burning through all of them, you can still make okay money doing slickers. So I wanted to point that one out specifically. And get that to you guys. Last up is the workbench. Well, water collector. Obviously, run your water collector. It just makes money. Makes lots of money. 31,000 an hour just running it. So just run it. Again, the only thing I'll say is try to pull your water filters out when they get low. Like I'll do that here, so you can see I've got a bunch of these that are like 9 and 10 and 10. And if I don't get distracted, I'll try to swap this one for a 10 and burn that one down even more, and then use those to turn FB100s. Extra steps up to you. Just something I like to do to pay attention to. Right now, top craft is red gunpowder. That is right now. This is going to change. I just don't know how, guys. There's so many weird things going on with like printed circuit boards, for example. I think everybody's just crafting them because they just fell through the absolute floor. And they shouldn't. They should continue to tick back up, but we'll see. I guess we'll see. I don't know. I don't think they're going to stay down here. I think we'll get them back into that 15, 16K range tonight. But right now, they're just not the best thing out there, especially because DVD drives are still hard to get under 12K. Yes, you can get them down there, but 12K is about where I see them, and I snatch them up myself. But it is a good craft. It's a cycle. It's still 30K an hour. It's just not the best craft. Red gunpowder is. Get your kites for 12. Get your eagles for 23 or less if you can. Matches at 10. And then flea. You got a flea market hawk at 24. And the reason for that is because if you don't, the flea market fee means you should just be vendoring these because that's right where you're at. If you're selling them for 24, you're pretty good. It's really close. It's not exact, but 24 is just a nice round number. And they will sell there. Sometimes they sit. Sometimes if you don't want them sitting on if you have a bunch of these and you just want to vendor them, go for it because that is still pretty good. You're going to make, this number's wrong because it's including the fee. If I use this, though, sometimes it fucks shit up, but we'll try it anyways. It's not. I'm not sure why. But you're making closer to actually 40K an hour on here because this is the actual number, is the 24,000. Even if you're vendoring it, you're pretty much making the same amount of price. It's right there at 40K an hour. After that is Vogs. This is a cool little craft because you can't even hit a home run on these. Sometimes these Vogs will push 30K, and when that, like I'll show you here, I've got them listed as 20K, 22. Let's say you can sell a stack of these for 30,000. Your profit goes from 33,000 an hour to 65. So little ones like this are great little kick-ups for everything else going on. Let me put 22,000 back in here so I don't miss it. 22,000 is on the low end. It's easy, 40K an hour. TP200s are always this cheap because they sell right at the vendor price. Sometimes you can even get a little bit cheaper, but you'll always be able to get them under 23K. And then fuses are just the one to watch. If you see somebody sell a stack of fuses for under 11K, that's when you buy them because that's where you're going to make your money. Round pliers, great craft. This is what I do because I'm just grinding out those skill points. Still makes 34K an hour if you're vendoring it. I sell it on the flea market for like, and I'll show you again. I think I did this last week, but I want to show you guys specifically what I do with these. If I have some, yeah, I have a couple right here. So you kind of got to watch it because the dollar can change a little bit, but you want to be under 17K when you list these. But I'll list them for dollars. I want to say it's like 126, 125. So 17,000, $125. You get 10% more technically. It depends on how you want to look at it. This is how I keep my dollars kind of afloat. That $125 is actually worth not 17,000 rubles because you're not buying them from Peacekeeper. It's actually worth closer to about 18,000. So you're selling up down here, but you're getting the dollars. If you vendor them, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just what I do to kind of get more bang for my buck out of each of these that I'm working on. Wires is an okay craft. It's getting tough to sell wires for much more than 12K. Sometimes you'll catch them there, but there's just tons of these listed around like 11.8, 11.9. And I don't ever like list. I always underlist these huge, like when there's like 60 things listed at like 11.9, 11.998, 11.997, 11.995. I go underneath that because I don't want to deal with it. The key is to get power cords cheap. 18K is on the very low end. You're not going to see them cheaper than that very often, but occasionally you will. And if you can snag one for like 15,000, it really changes these numbers over here. So set your own limits. That's where it is. The best long-term craft is still the AP63 or AP 366 AP. Simply if you have SP6, not if you buy it. You don't want to buy if you buy it from proper. Let's see, it's 20. We'll say 2,200. It's a little bit less, but if you buy it from proper for 2,200. You can see how much of a bite it is. So it's still okay. It's a 100K craft if you're buying it from proper. But again, that's kind of a hard buy to get to. I prefer let's see here. Where does it sell the proper? Sell the mechanic for 645. This is how I like to look at it because this is what you're going to get it out of raid for. This is its value out of raid to you to vendor it if you're not going to use it. I don't know why it's not letting me type that in there. There we go. And you can see the absolute banger profit you can make out of it. That's selling at 2,600. I've seen these push like 32. So just price it where you think you want to. Just keep a look at the market and get it right. We talked about circuit boards already. PSUs, 40K, and then 16.5 on your caps. It's okay. It's not the greatest, but it's out there. Magnets as well. If you're getting hard drives under 10K, magnets have been pushing past 25, so there's another option for you as well. And then for another long craft option, you've got your rip ammo. I didn't look at this price before the video. I apologize. Let me look real quick. So the weekend, as usual, it gets expensive on the weekend. That's what these big spikes are on the weekend. So you're seeing Definitely easily like 750, 800 on these. I'm going to keep it at 800. Makes you about 74K profit. So there's a long craft overnight if you want to make money. For me, I am crafting ammo that I want to use. So for example, right now, I've been crafting a lot of PS12B. I'm pretty much done crafting that. So I'm going to get into some more M61 probably. I do have a lot of it. But after that, then you start getting into like 995 and some of the other stuff. Sorry, that's habit. But craft for what you want to do, whether you want money or bullets. That's the long craft for the workbench. But that's it. Kind of a long video. We went over 20 minutes. I'm going to get this uploaded, get it to you guys, and we're going to start the stream. Thank you guys for your support. As always, whether you're Patreon, a member over on YouTube, whatever it is, I'm happy to be able to do these videos for you guys every week, and appreciate you guys' patience and your support. Again, I'll say it and I'll ramble and bubble and whatever. But thank you guys. See you later.